Hello, everyone, and welcome to EduMatch. So follow along with us on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch, as well as the YouTube live page at podcast.edumatch.org/tweet talk. So speaking of EduMatch, if you want to be the featured person of the day, check out edumatch.org. There's a big old sign up button. Click on that. You can be the person of the day. There's a little bit of a wait. I'll be honest, it's a lot of bit of a wait, but it is definitely worth it because in the meantime, as matches come up, then we'll tag you. Also, we'll tweet out your the RSS feed of your blog if you have one to our network. So good times, good times. So definitely excited about that. So tonight we are going to be talking about student engagement, and we have a phenomenal panel for you. So we're going to start off with panel introductions. So I'm going to kick it over first to Katie.
Hey guys, I'm Katie, a high school teacher librarian out in Central California, and I am really pumped about student engagement because, if the kiddos aren't engaged, then it's a nightmare. So I really don't like nightmares during the day. So engagement is my jam.
Awesome, awesome. Great to have you here, Katie. So thank you and welcome back. And we're going to go next to Dean.
Hi, I'm Dean Dahl. I'm a sixth grade teacher and also a tech skills instruction teacher in Edina, Minnesota at Southview Middle School. And this is all what I believe in, and it's so fun in the tech world to be able to have this topic to go with.
Awesome. It is great to see you back, Dean. So thank you again for joining us. And now, without any further ado, then we have our wonderful moderator for tonight, Desiree. So if you could please introduce yourself and then take it away with the first question.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Desiree Alexander, aka Educator Alexander, and I am the founder CEO of EducatorAlexander.com, Educator Alexander Consulting, and I am the North Regional Director of Apple, which is an educational nonprofit in Louisiana. So I am excited to be here tonight.
All right, awesome, awesome. Well, it is great to have you here. So thank you so much, Desiree. And if you wanted to go ahead and kick off with your first question.
Yes. Okay. So let's really dig deep and think about student achievement. Student engagement, which leads to student achievement. So, what does effective student engagement look like in the classroom?
I can start. I think it's been kind of my theme for the last couple of years, and I use the word or the phrase "share the learning," and being able to do that when you collaborate and seeing how much engagement there is as students through technology or face to face. You can observe and you can see when they're working together, they're explaining it. You can ask them some leading questions, and it gets rolling. And the more they own it rather than me them, the engagement seems to rise.
Yeah, so student engagement totally looks like everyone is involved. They're talking with each other, having a blast, having the exploration, but beyond that, they're delving into what they want and pushing themselves beyond just what the teacher has said, taking everything a step further, kind of personalizing their own learning as well. And then it's definitely a bit noisy because they're involved doing their stuff.
I like to think about student engagement as looking different in each teacher's classroom. It's not really something that you can pinpoint and say that this is how student engagement looks, because it can be controlled chaos, it can be quiet reflection. You it looks differently in each classroom. So when you're thinking about what effective student engagement looks like, it can look different in each classroom. However, the purpose and the meaning behind it looks the same, and that's that students are actually engaged in the lesson and actually learning more than just listening. So thank you for that. Well, let's move on to question 2. How can we assess student engagement? How do we actually know that students are engaged? Because sometimes you go into classrooms and teachers may think, well, yeah, my students are here, they're engaged, but how do we actually assess student engagement?
Assessing student engagement can be kind of tricky, and I'm slightly an anti-rubric person, so it's mostly about, were they better than they were yesterday? Did they step up their game a bit more? Having that reflection piece and letting them really see, did they improve? Did they do more? Did they reach their personal goals? I want that reflective element to be their driving force, because if it's just them trying to be compliant and complacent, we're not doing anything good for engagement.
Katie, I couldn't agree with you more. It's slippery but cool when it comes together. I think the obvious is the academic, the scores, what they produce, definitely reveals it. But also something I started to do, and I got from a teacher, how they I do like Google Form exit cards, and just to see what, obviously what they have to do or what they did that day, but also how they shared it. How did they share their learning? How did they communicate with it, and what suggestions? And it's just when I have taken those and really looked at them, as well as day or the next time we're together, and when someone can actually see, hey, I wrote this in private because it was my Google form, but the teacher read it and tried to move forward with it, the engagement just grows even more with that.
Thank you, guys. And I agree with both of you. I want to add too, I think that I see student engagement a lot when I'm either visiting classrooms or when I was actually in the classroom. And I like to assess it as the students don't want to stop. That's when I know that they're actually engaged. When they don't know that the bell's about to ring, that they're like, "Oh no, wait, I wanted to finish." Like that's when you know that a student is actually engaged in the lesson, that they actually want to learn and they want to finish. So excuse me. Let's move on to question 3. How can we actually strengthen student engagement in the classroom?
I think it has to be definitely day one, beginning of the year. It's part of your environment and part of your culture of what you're bringing, because and just taking the mindset of moving forward, instead of, we're all going to move at the same pace, at the same rate, at the same time, that it's meeting them where they're at and moving forward and moving with them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, we still have to give them the directions and the expectations, but they have to feel, the class has to feel that it's safe, that it's an environment that they can definitely share and not always get their way, but at the same token be heard. It has to be from day one, and then foster it from there.
Yeah, good points there, Dean. Yeah, strengthening engagement. The students, when they're given the chance to personalize their learning and build forward on what they want, it's totally like what Denise was talking about. The kids don't want to stop. They can just keep on going, and it doesn't really matter when the bell rings. You hear this like, oh my goodness. There, the kiddos are engaged in doing what they want to do. When they're exploring a topic that's interesting to them, they're more with it. And I think it's so easy to get tied to a textbook, but our curriculum really has a lot of flexibility. If it's science, history, English, the kids can personalize it and explore deeper into a piece that they're more personally vested in, and then they'll do better.
And I agree with both of you. It's really that culturally responsive pedagogy, that making sure that they feel safe, that they feel valued in the classroom, but also connecting the content to their life. I think we have not done a good job when we hear how will I use this, in the real world? That means we have not connected the content to the students' lives and to the students' culture. And I think once we do that, once we take the content and connect it and show them that this is the reason why you're learning this is how it's going to be effective for you in the future, I think it brings up student engagement. And I think a big thing about student engagement too is just like with teachers, um, if you want to know how to engage students, ask them. I think we lose that when we don't give our students a voice and we don't ask them how do we engage them more. So I think that's really an important part of it as well. This has been awesome. Okay, so why is student engagement so important? Like we hear it, and I know we have some teachers that think, I don't have to engage you. I don't have to entertain you. Like you just come and you learn, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. I do my job, you do your job. So why is student engagement so important?
Well, and it goes back to where I think where Katie started. Uh, it's there. You can't really put a label on it, but you can see it. And it's when those students, when you can see that the teacher has it, whatever it is, whether they're directly delivering it or they're the engagement, their eyes are lit up. School is fun. Learning is fun. And sharing that power with the class and the engagement gives them the chance to really enjoy what sometimes gets labeled and feels like a job.
Okay, well, I'll hop
It's real
in.
important to make sure we engage the students because I don't know, I just can't imagine a classroom without students happy to be there and wanting to do what we want them to do. Just like you mentioned before, if kiddos had a choice whether or not to show up to your class, would they? And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, really? Like, why would they come to my class? But to be reflective and to think for the students totally shifts your mindset of your lesson design and upping that engagement, thinking about the student, putting the student first. Yes, our curriculum and content and standards and all that gobbledygook that we need to do does matter, but if the kiddos don't want to be there, I mean, that matters a little bit more.
And I agree with you, Katie. Like you just said that the curriculum and all these things matter, but if we boil it down, the curriculum and all these things actually have to do with students. So we can't lose sight of like why we are here and what's the entire point of our complete jobs, and that is the students. So that's why student engagement, I feel, is so important, because if we are not engaging them, then why are we there? What is the point of what we do? So it is all about engaging them and actually getting them to learn. So I am going to move on. It kind of leads into question 5, and that is, how is student, and this is, I think, a big question with educators right now, with because we can talk about student engagement, but sometimes it's difficult in the everyday trenches of the classroom. So how is student engagement actually different from student attendance? Because I know a lot of teachers who think that because the students are in class, that they are automatically engaged. So what is the true difference between that?
Well, I think just
this is where you need to
oh,
take stock of the difference of students being present versus student being engaged. Kiddos showing up every day and like flying under the radar. She's like, oh, surely they're getting the content because they're not bad talking, they're not disruptive, they're not causing a problem. No, complacency and being quiet doesn't mean they're engaged and learning anything. So this is where sometimes you have those kiddos that just fly under the radar. They're in high school and they never really learned how to read. That's a problem. making sure that they get it, having those personal one-on-one conversations with every single student. Maybe you can't do it quite every day because the format of your school design, but definitely touching bases with every student and asking them, having those conversations, making sure they know what's going on, making sure they're producing, making sure they're creating and sharing and having that contribution in the class versus just sitting there. I've heard some people say, oh, well, kiddos have a right to fail. No, they don't. Not in my classroom. Every kiddo is going to get something, or I'm going to like lose it trying to get them there.
Definitely, and also thinking about how we all were sitting in one of those, in any class, whether it was a high school lecture or a college lecture, where you got the art of staring and nodding and sleeping with your eyes open, and knowing that just because the student is in the class and they're looking at you, it does not mean that they're engaged and they're a part of it. And it's so it's just so important to reevaluate. One, yes, their presence is important, but also reassess their growth, because the growth doesn't always have to happen right at that minute during period 5. The growth can happen in separate ways, and we have to recognize it as we check in with kids.
I completely agree with both of you. And Katie saying about the students don't have a right to fail. And I do agree with that. I think that they have a right to learn from their failures. So I don't think they have a right to just sit there and fail and it's like, oh, well, that's okay. Well, no, but we as teachers, we are leading them to learn from their mistakes and learn from their failures and seeing how to move on from them. So and I do agree with Dean as well that, we do have those students that learn how to do school. They may not learn from school, but they learn how to do school. And we don't want that. That's not student engagement. They're not really learning anything. They're just kind of learning the game. So I do agree with both of you on that. I think we have a bonus question. I'm going to throw it to Dean. Dean, you're still
I just want, yep, there we go. I just got there. And just going to, however the engagement, going back to what we were talking about earlier, just however we can make engagement more real life. So when they leave the classroom, they can see it, they can live it, they can share it with their parents, and it's relevant that, again, school doesn't just happen from 8 to 3. It happens beyond that, and and we get the whole involved, and that just it's so cool when that comes together.
I completely agree with that, Dean. Thank you for that. Um, Sarah, are we going to talk about the extended learning opportunity here, or do you do that at a different time?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So just wanted to thank you so much, Desiree, for the awesome questions. Thank you so much to Katie and to Dean for being amazing panelists. So definitely wanted to go ahead and drop a major announcement that we have been working on the badges. So Katie is on panel with us tonight, and she has been like definitely a mastermind behind that. Shout out to her. Shout out to Ben Room from Badge List. Shout out to Kim Roberson. All of us have been kind of working on this extended learning opportunity, doing badges. And also Desiree has contributed a challenge for us today to do as well. So this is how it works. If you go to badgelist.com/edumatch, and you're going to see 3 challenges. The first one will be the mild challenge. So just like your mild salsa. And I have to give a huge shout out to Owen Peary in the EduMatch Boxer group, who I borrowed this terminology from. And we liked it, so we decided to go with it. So the mild challenge is you find 3 tweets tonight or any other time during the week where you want to tweet about this topic, and with the hashtag EduMatch. And then when you find those, you can just kind of submit them. Matter of fact, we'll do a screen share in just a second just to show you. There is a medium challenge where we have our Flipgrid where you can chime in with your reflections via Flipgrid. And la pièce de la résistance. We got Desiree, who has submitted a wonderful challenge for everyone to do in terms of taking a lesson that you're going to do in the next few weeks and just changing it up so that it is more student centered, because we want that student engagement piece. So so definitely just reflecting on that, showing evidence of implementation, and that's how you get our spicy badge. So yes, it's going to be good stuff. So I'm going to actually do a screen share. So if y'all stay in there with us like so. All right, so screen share, might get a little vortex effect going. Okay, there we go. So over here, let me just make my screen big. So if you go to badgelist.com/edumatch, just like that, then you can sign up. And when you sign up, then it'll just create a little profile for you. And then you will go down here to our badges. So these are our badges of the week. So our student engagement one, you will just go ahead and drop your 3 tweets on here and you'll get that mild badge. For the medium badge, then you will just go to this link, this Flipgrid, and share your thoughts about student engagement. Very, very easy. Just pop in and just say a few words about student engagement and what it means to you. And you're not limited to a few words. You have up to 5 minutes. So share as much as you want. And last but not least, then you want to, if you want the spicy badge, then you're going to implement an idea. So you can see here that this is the one that Desiree submitted. So find your lesson and then just take a look at this link and see how your students respond to a lesson. And you can post your reflection right down there. So, and the beauty about badge lists is that when people submit their evidence, then you'll be able to see it. Like other people can see it, people can learn from you. So this is a wonderful thing because it's definitely peer learning and everyone can just kind of learn from everybody else. So that's about it. So definitely excited to roll that out. So huge shout out to everyone who is involved. So wanted to thank our wonderful moderator, Desiree, our wonderful panelists, Katie and Dean, as well as our tweeters, our watchers on YouTube Live, our lurkers, people who are going to be watching in the future. So it'll be available as a podcast everywhere you go to find your podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever, Podbean. So just check us out. Tomorrow we are having a special episode at 5:30 Eastern. So that is 2:30 Mountain Time. Or no, 2:30 Pacific. I need to do the math in my mind. 2:30 Pacific, and you can fill in the blanks. And to our international friends, and just check it out, the time zone converter thing. But we will be talking to Mary Alice Curran as well as Michelle from DigSit Utah, and we're going to be talking about their awesome summit coming up in early November. So if you want to be part of the next EduMatch Tweet and Talk, which will be coming up next Sunday at the regular time, then you can sign up at getconnected.edumatch.org/sign up. We're going to be talking with AJ Giuliani. And following that, we're going to have our 3rd birthday party at 7 p.m. So you can sign up for that as well. Yes, we're going to turn 3. I don't know if that makes us a toddler or what, but yeah, it's going to be a good time. So subscribe if you like this and leave a review. So that's about it. So everybody have a fantastic week and see you all next time. Bye.